Dad Pod?
Just a video thing as well.
Have a name.
Podcast?
Midlife crisis.
Paddy Daddy.
Midlife crisis.
Dadcast?
That's not bad, actually, yeah.
Not bad, yeah, that's about the best we can hope for. You're very welcome along to this week's episode of Dadcast. Dave is back. How are you, Dave?
Hello.
Nathan's here. How are you?
How are you?
Very well. There's been a number of things that have happened since everybody was last in the room. Nathan has ascended to the throne of power. Haven't you taken over and look at your eyes?
What?
Look at your eyes. The terror in his eyes. Parent-teacher.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chairperson of the Parents Association.
It's official.
Wow.
He thought you thought I meant in work.
Well,
He staged a coup in work as well, but that's too boring to talk about publicly.
Was there a cutthroat campaign of intimidation and violence that led to this
There
position?
was, yes, absolutely. What about with the...
No, nobody else wanted the job, essentially, was what happened. But chairman of the stuff is great. Like, chairman, all you got to do is, just delegate.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to drive everything and make sure everything is delegated.
Well, I'm very fortunate in my PTA, and that turns out I've people also in the PTA who are very self-motivated, very driven, very keen to just get on with things by themselves. So every day I go on my phone, there's like 84 different updates from the PTA and just a lot of stuff done.
You just read through them.
And there's so many of them, I'm like, so much here, I don't have time for this, but it seems as though things are going really well. But like, all I can see is everything is happening beautifully.
Is it a Parents Association or the Parent-Teacher Association?
Parent-Teacher
So they're
Association.
teachers on the...
They are, but
panel
they're
as well.
not so much. They're at the teachers will come to the meetings, but they're not involved
do
in
stuff.
the.
All right.
Yeah,
No, we've no
fundraising.
teachers involved.
Yeah, we
in our
were going
meetings.
to change.
Not
the
that I'm at
Parents
any of the meetings.
Association.
They're always on Champions League nights.
It's handy, isn't it?
So I was at the first one, then I joined, and I won't be at another one until January.
Well, where's your commitment? Because what I would do, Dave, is when they're on a Champions League night, I say, can I be on a 6 o'clock game so I can get to my meeting at 8 o'clock? That I push it back.
Yeah, but
It's
Dave-
incredible how I can fly in from
Dave-
Istanbul. I can fly in from
How
Istanbul.
would
at such short
I
notice.
get from the Bernabeu to the Parents Association?
That's a great point, Dave.
Dave's more important. He's on the bigger games, Nathan.
Yeah, well.
I'd hate to point that out,
No.
but like that was the obvious answer to that one, wasn't it?
No.
He doesn't get to pick and choose. They decide because he's the star.
We've gone down a wormhole here.
Whoa!
Really?
Anyway, that wasn't the point I was taking most
mean-
issue with.
Oh, okay. Which was?
The one that he was implying it was possible to be in two places at once.
okay. Of course, yes, of course. Which I mean, I'm sure you're at some of these games. Right. So we tweeted before we came on today. 2 of the dads will today metaphorically throw their kids under the bus for pissing.
Sorry, Jared, that's not how the tweet actually reads.
Well, you obviously had a typo in it, Nathan. One in the back of the car on the M50, and the other against the neighbour's wall. Adrian's not here, so poor Colin doesn't get to get thrown under the bus.
Adrian's gone
entirely.
away for the weekend.
Yeah,
with his wife.
Yeah,
no
just his
children.
wife. Wow, 2 full nights in
And I've
London.
seen a man looking. He's looking very excited.
We had 3 full nights last weekend.
Hey, a lot of scheduling going on.
Wow!
It was incredible.
And how was the trip?
That's rare as wonderful.
It was just amazing. 3 full nights, walking around, strolling around, doing what you wanted, when you wanted. No deadlines. Well, we actually did a couple of tours, so there were some deadlines.
Where were you?
We were in Berlin.
All right.
And
I thought you were going to. Oh, you were going to Berlin. I thought you were going to Berlin with your mates.
no,
Oh, okay, sorry.
no.
Sorry.
No, it was for the
listened
40th. My wife organised it for my 40th there last month. Oh, it was class. Just like sitting there having a few drinks with your dinner. No, you're not worried about the babysitter. Or we need to get back, and we said we'd be home by 11. It's just amazing, and it's an amazing city.
It's an amazing city.
Historically, an amazing city. There's not actually anything to see in the city, but there are places of huge historical.
Did you go clubbing?
What?
Yeah. No?
Are you insane?
Berlin.
He's
Great.
40.
Oh, I heard about the clubs that they go on like till 9 a.m.
They start on Thursday and they finish on Monday afternoon.
There was a guy who was our guide actually on both the tours we did, and he hadn't seen his girlfriend in 2 days. And
'Cause she was out clubbing.
this was a regular occurrence because there was obviously the 30-year celebration of They Follow the Wall,
Okay.
and we were there, and so there was obviously a mad night of clubbing for the younger folk.
Yeah.
And
You weren't tempted to.
there were times in the past where he wouldn't see her for 2 days, and he'd have to get on his bike at like say 6 in the morning and cycle around the various nightclubs in Berlin and go in and see if she was there. And she was invariably, she always turned up alive. But
Maybe you should just let her make her own way home and live her own life instead of stalking her.
He probably or have some care for her welfare and hope that she's not like
Anyway,
something hasn't befallen her.
let's move on.
Anyway, another tangent we've gone off on. But yeah, 3 nights last weekend, so Adrian's going to have a great time.
Yeah. He's
There
in
you go.
London. He's at Jules Holland, the most middle-aged
This is
thing you can possibly
This
do.
is what I was trying to make this point earlier, but he wasn't having any of it.
Oh, it's like-
he was very much, I think, I'm at the cutting edge music right here.
Do you know, I think it's always great. It happens less and less in your life as it goes on, but to be the youngest person in the room. And tonight, Adrian and his wife are going to be the youngest people in the room. It's very few places where you can do that now. Mass would be the only one that springs to mind for me. That's it at our age.
Yeah, I can't think of any other circumstances.
Paul Little's been in touch. We asked people to share their stories. There's always a way. We were in Portugal on holidays, decided to take a local bus back to the resort. The oldest son, who was 5 at the time, desperately needs a whiz. We tell him, wait, just hold it in. Can't. The bus decides to take a pit stop at the terminus. Serious discomfort and whining. Come on, I need to go. The wife, the genius, produces spare pull-up pants of the 2-year-old son, the 5-year-old wedged into them behind a towel and told, go to town.
That is genius.
Initial edginess, then relief, wife impressive, me paralysed and unable to suggest useful options, oldest son red-faced, but not in the way he might have expected. Happy days.
Job was done and there was no damage done, no consequences.
I mean, you wonder, is there designed for a 2-year-old? Does the bladder double in size? Is there so much that it's going to dribble down? But
and obviously it depends on how much he's had to drink, and there's a good chance that the pull-up, which is not designed like a nappy, it's it's a in case of emergency break glass type situation.
Yeah. This is just precisely the moment where you need it.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to think outside the box, as we did the other night.
Go on, tell us your story.
We're in the M50 is like a car park. It's lashing rain. We made a last-minute decision to go across to my folks for some dinner and left at 4.
Never again.
It took us an hour and a half to get to Castleknock from where we are on the north side. At 4 o'clock. It's what has happened to this city? I know traffic in this city is bad, but at 4 o'clock, I've never encountered that before. But anyway, lashing rain, and after the 10th time of him saying, guys, I really need to go here, was my 2-year-old. He said, why are you not listening to me? I really need to go. So there was nothing in the car that could be used apart from a bowl.
What type of bowl?
How big was the
Those
ball?
little blue plastic bowls that they eat their breakfast out of.
So go on.
So a small bowl, no bigger than the palm of your hand.
What if he feels that? It's going to tip over.
Well, I was thinking it would take an enormous amount for someone so
for
small
2-year-olds, yeah.
to fill the bowl. But I was in the outside lane, so wedged up against the barrier between the north side bound lanes and the southbound lanes, so I couldn't really edge all across 3 lanes into the hard shoulder. So I had to keep moving every time the traffic inched forward. So my wife had to get into the back, get him out of his seat, get him prepped, get the bowl, make sure that everything is pointing in the right direction, and then all the while the car's moving forward.
Jerking his face all over the place.
And then the bowl had to be passed from back to front over the armrest through to me.
So you
and
can
then
tip
I
it
would
out
open
the
the window, tip it out the window. But it was a brilliantly executed operation.
Brilliant.
There was no mess.
Fair play to everybody.
And everybody was very proud of themselves and the team effort once we had completed the mission. And just goes to show, as our listener said there's always a way. And you just get the job done. No one can have any hang-ups about any embarrassing moments or anything. But we've all had those situations where...
Did you just dump it out the window, yeah?
It was lashing rain. It would have been washed away almost immediately.
Ah, yeah.
His urine is clean.
Yeah.
He's going to hit somebody.
Yeah.
Cyclist.
Some guy in a motorbike tried to take the sneaky right through. Oh, shit. He'd have a helmet on. It's grand.
Happens to lads in the Tour de France all the time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Only the dopers. Lydia Burke says, my 4-year-old stood up in the bath and peed while his sister was also in the bath. I said, I just asked you if you wanted to go, and you said no. And he replied, I know, but I wanted to wait and do it in the bath so the water would be nice and warm for Penny. Awful.
Yeah. Why not?
Awful. So,
Do you know, the little boys, they don't... at what age do they get that everything isn't always pointing in the right direction at the moment of commencement.
Well, I don't know.
It just gets progressively worse because
20. Come on.
and then only when you're totally sober.
Exactly. Come on.
Like when they start when they're standing up peeing into the actual toilet, it just gets every morning. I'm like, how did this? Like, where are they even? But I'd see it like they'd be go to bed and one of them be going for a pee and the other one would be brushing his teeth and the one going for a pee just get totally distracted and be like, yeah, just it's going to take you 10 seconds. Just keep facing forward. Why have you just like randomly veered off?
Oh, so you stand it up?
Yeah.
When do they stand up? Because
no, it depends.
Our 2-year-old's been standing up since the start nearly.
And our eldest lad was quite late, and the younger lad was, once he started, he was like grand.
You just put a step. There's a step.
No, we never put a step or anything like
toilets.
that.
So how did they get there?
They just sat down.
All right. Well, we had to. It was him and there was
so they're sitting down, not standing up.
Yeah, no, but now they're standing up.
Right.
But now
because they're tall enough.
They're tall enough to get over it.
Yeah,
Which
our
brings me
little fella
to
just pulls a step over.
the worst part of them standing up and being sort of tall enough is the urinals in a public place. Oh, brought my kids to the FAI Cup final and my eldest lad has no like bladder control in terms of, I'll have a bottle of water, which is 5 trips to the toilet in one half of the match as he drank the bottle of water in 8 seconds flat. I'm like, dear God.
I thought you would have been in a box, Nathan, but go on.
No, I just brought my kids to the match like a normal person. Not like you know, who, unless there's the old free prawns, ain't going to be there. Obviously, I looked for the box, but it just wasn't available.
The anger when it's like wrapped up and not facing the right way, and like he looks up at you, and, how has this happened?
You get the blame for it.
Why? Why did you let this happen?
Oh no, but so at the Aviva, he's just about reaches the level, so he's just like resting it on the side. I'm like, oh my God.
And you're making sure don't touch the toilet. Whatever you do, do not touch the urinal.
I'm like, do not, like an absolute lunatic rampaging around the Aviva. Do not touch that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, the main reason you don't want them to touch it is so you then do not have to wash their hands.
Oh, I'm like, well, I'm
Get out
a
of there.
absolute Nazi when it comes to washing your hands.
Yeah.
Like,
If I haven't touched anything, you don't need
is
to.
like, would you just leave them alone? I'm like, do you wash your hands? And they're like, look, they're soaking wet.
Yeah. They have to wash their hands. It's gross.
Only if they've touched something.
I know, well, like it's a good habit to get into because you think that.
I know, but I'm in situations such as that. I'll do all the whatever needs to be done. You guys he needs to operate on a hands-free basis.
But the thing is, then you have to wash your hands, right?
Yeah, it's
I
all right.
wash my hands every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
me
but-
too. But so if you're washing your hands, you can do theirs at the same time, and it's like.
It's not, no, because the sinks, they can't get up to the sink for a start. Then sleeves have to be rolled up to the elbow and...
Oh, they ain't leaving a public toilet without getting their hands thoroughly scrubbed.
An email from Klaas van der Meulen, his real name. Dear
Is he Belgian or
Dadcast,
Dutch, do you think?
dear Dadcast, Dutch listener here.
Okay.
Right.
Big fan of your podcast since episode 1. Great crack, very informative too. Just finished episode 43 while walking with my 7-month-old daughter who was asleep in her pram.
So none of the last 10 minutes will be of any relevance to this guy.
Your discussion on sibling rivalry brought back colourful memories of growing up with a bigger brother. On episode 42, the listener email about fertility issues was handled very well, I think, having been through years of procedures and examinations, etc., in order to be blessed with a daughter. To think we almost didn't go for that third IVF attempt. Anyway, our little precious is doing fine, but one thing I find hard as a dad is how to teach her how not to cry whenever one of us is out of line of sight. How do you teach a tiny baby that she'll be okay for a few minutes while you take a much-needed toilet break, etc.? I find it makes days alone with her frustrating, and the minders at the daycare are not too happy about it either. That makes me think it's not entirely normal for her to be that dependent. Any advice would be much appreciated. Cheers, lads. Keep up the good work. Kind regards, Klaas van der Meulen. Class is pronounced kind of like class.
Like Klaas Jan Huntelaar.
Exactly. P.S. Thanks to you guys, I also checked out the other podcast, the Dungeons and Dragons one. So there you go. We are spreading the love of...
Yeah, we shouldn't be driving listeners into the arms of other podcasters, though.
No, it's fine. We're not. I mean, he's obviously very loyal to us. He's listened to all 42 episodes.
Yeah.
We've probably done a few more that I haven't put up just yet, but well, I shall get round to.
I didn't experience this to any great degree, but she's only 7 months old. So there's nothing to be worried about at 7 months old.
And it's important to remember that even though your child is only 7 months old, she's trying to manipulate you. You're under no illusions.
Especially that
You might think she doesn't know what she's doing. You might, well, 100%. She is trying. She knows. She knows. See, is it a bit of tough love there? Do you just walk out the door and never look back?
I think that different kids have different levels of this, right? That it happens whenever they're... I think it specifically happens around this age, the fear of abandonment, isn't it? Because they're not quite sure if you're coming back, and like at night time, they've no concept of how long a night is. So you could be gone for 6 months, you could be gone for 3 hours. They feel like you abandoned them forever and you were never coming back, and then you do come back. I mean, obviously, none of that's based on any science, but it's vague recollection of a half-remembered piece that I read 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but you've got to live your life, because otherwise, what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah,
and if you don't, how are they going to turn out?
There's no fix to it, really. Now, what you could do is, I know she's only 7 months old, so she's obviously not speaking, and how much she's understanding depends on going from child to child. But what he could do is, you know, just leave for a very short period of time, come back in all smiles, then you do it for a little bit longer, so say 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and she always knows that you're back, that no matter how long the time period was, he did come back, and she will get a little more settled, but she'll grow out of it. But they keep doing this, as you said, Nathan. Manipulation is the right word. It's not dissimilar to when one of your kids decides that your wife is the only person that can perform some task. So, will you open my smoothie? No, I don't want you to open it.
Oh.
No, I need Mammy to open it, but she's not here. No, I don't care. Mammy, I need Mammy to open my smoothie. And then you're just trying to take the deepest breath possible, not lose your cool.
There's no smoothie.
Well, I just
Then
leave
that's
it on.
full-blown tantrum.
Well,
We have that, like, you know, I'm doing the bedtime and I'm doing the boy. He's like, no, you're not. I'm not. You're just not doing this. I'm not having this. Like, there's no way around it. He, like, jumps up in the bed, runs away, screams, and then you're pulling it off, and you're like, oh, this is probably not the best way to parenting here. I seem to have lost my cool. You're in the middle of it, like, I appear to have lost my cool here. How did that happen? 5 seconds ago, we were, like, chatting away and having the crack, and now I'm
How
like...
has this happened again?
You're looking at yourself going, what? Who are you?
Like an out-of-body experience.
Foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, I was like that with the baby on Monday or Tuesday night. She just wouldn't go to sleep, and it had been a long day. I was like to my wife,
Just fucking go to sleep.
It's like, I'm going to look for a creche. We're putting her into a creche 3 days a week. I need a break. Can't be dealing with this shit. And she's like, I think you're overreacting. I'm like, nah, just want a break. Just want to be able to do some stuff with my life. I'm just kind of done with this right now. We just put her into a creche 3 days a week. And
Yeah.
like,
So, yes.
9 to 5. Give me a break here.
Or even, like, whatever.
She's like, nah.
9 to half 4. Come on.
Nah.
Yes.
Nah.
And did you lose?
Of course I lost.
Come on.
Are there any
Stand
parents
up
out
for
there
yourself.
that don't lose their cool?
I don't know. I mean,
It's
certainly...
inexcusable, really. Losing your cool with like a 2-year-old. Like, I lost my cool this morning with him on the way back from the drop-off at big school. Then we scoot back up the road. See, I pull in about half a mile from the school so they get a walk/scoot, like kids
are supposed to, yeah.
should do. And then...
And did they enjoy that, or...?
No, they love it on the way down, and then they peg it around after each other in the yard for like the 20 minutes because we're always there nice and early. And then myself and the little fella have to scoot back up the road to bring him to his Montessori. And it's always then that he starts, I don't want to scoot, and my hands are cold, even though you had gloves on you until 10 minutes ago and you threw them away. So it's not my problem. You had your opportunity to keep your hands warm and you gave up that opportunity. And then, of course, there's the 3 or 4 falls on the way up because he's looking around him when he's scooting and doesn't see the little bump in the path, and over he goes, head over heels. Second time that morning, you're going, Jesus. And instead of going, oh my God, it's terrible, you fell, I should be right on top of you, picking you up and rubbing your cheek and make sure you're okay. Instead, you're like, what are you doing?
That sounds very, very familiar. But what I can't figure out then, right, and I'm sure there's no definitive answer to this. So, like, that exact experience of, so you're trying to do the right thing. Like, you're arriving early, you're getting your children a bit of exercise, all of that. But then you're so angry throughout the entire process. I always find those situations at the end, I'm like, is the way I've spent the entire 20 minutes of getting them exercise been such a negative experience that it's totally outweighed the good that has been done.
And all they're going to remember
really
is the
good
fighting and the shouting.
Like, the shouting and you losing your cool can only be damaging to them. And, like, I don't want my kids to, when they're older, to remember me as some kind of an ogre or a tyrant.
But it might be too late.
Yeah. Well, maybe if they just stop in such a pain in the hole, it'd be easier, wouldn't it?
How do you fix it?
I don't know, but you see, every dad goes through this. I remember, and you know, I've already thrown my son under the bus, now I'm going to throw my father under the bus, all of the same podcast. But years and years ago, I think it was about 6, maybe a little older, 7 or 8, we're in a pedalo on a lake in France. And as we're redocking, the pedalo just shifts a little, and I end up falling.
And so your dad naturally concerned goes, "Oh, Dave, are you okay?"
Exactly. As I'm going, like, kind of stepping out across the little gap in the water between the pedalo and the pier, I just fall straight down through the gap. Now, the water's only up to my waist.
But he doesn't know that, really.
So I'm dry from, say, the tummy up, but my obviously in the water from the waist down. And as you say, he didn't go, "Oh, God, you could have hit your head there, and he okay?" He's just like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" Which is what I did this morning when the poor little fella hit the deck.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Why is it? How have we not evolved?
Is it a male thing?
I don't know.
Because my wife's always at me about that. So obviously there's an accident every day in the house. And my first reaction without fail is, "What are you doing?" It's like his leg is hanging off. I'm like, why'd you do that? What the bloody hell?
I know.
Like, oh my God, I'm going to need 8 stitches. Well, I told you not to do it.
So why have we not adapted to
I don't know,
parenting as
because
the generations have gone by to deal with these situations better?
We went through a period of where the glass of milk at dinner time got spilled every night. Every fucking night.
Don't make me talk about this. Don't make me talk
Every
about
night
the
by
glass of juice.
by the same couple of people. It was the same usual suspects doing the same thing. It's like fire, and the elbow goes out. And you know the no point crying over spilt milk? Well, there were a lot of tears shed over spilt milk. And in retrospect, it might not have been my greatest moment as a parent. What are you doing? And it's like, it makes no sense.
Oh.
I mean, I just clean it up. I mean, in fairness, it soaks into... We've got one of those pull-out tables, and then a year later, you're like, oh, it still hasn't dried out. That's remarkable. The green bits, there's like the gunge in the middle. Anyway.
The drink thing... Jesus.
Oh,
I find myself having to breathe deeply now, even just talking about it. But every day. Like, can I have a glass of juice? They call it juice, but it's just like water and the tiniest, stingiest squirt of Kiora. And it's just always ends up on the counter.
Yeah.
Or he'll say, "I'm just going to bring this into the playroom."
No.
Okay, no problem. Then he doesn't tell you that he's knocked it over. You go in to tidy the playroom maybe in the lamplight that night and your socks soaked. Hang on, so this has been on the floor for 8 hours. Nobody told me.
Soaking in.
But when he knocks it over, it's a complete accident. He's 2.
He's 2. Like,
Right?
come on.
And I'm going, "What? Why did you do that? I told you not to. I told you to hold him with 2 hands." And he's looking at me going, "Why are you such a dick?"
Yeah. I don't know, because it's just an 8, isn't it?
We need some reassurance from the listeners here.
Well, there's 3 of us here, and I've fired my dad into the mix as well. So that's 4 dads, all of whom are irrational, unreasonable beings when it comes to the smallest events taking place in your life.
Like, there's no way we're not doing damage, because by and large, my kids are doing the right thing, and I'm still getting angry. So now at breakfast, like the eldest lad, we're like, you have to make your own breakfast. You know, you're old enough to be able to get your bowl. I will put the milk on the table and the Weetabix on the table. You can put the Weetabix into your bowl and pour the milk. Except, of course, when it's a big 2-litre thing of milk, and he's like, and he goes absolutely, and I'm like, what the f*** are you doing? I don't curse now in front of them where possible. I'm like, what the? I was like, why can't you just put the bloody milk in? He's like, well, the trial was too heavy. Just put the milk in.
I was very good about not cursing until recently, and then it just has become this, it has happened, and I'm like, oh, you know, you're like,
We're very bad when it comes to that.
you know, you're walking past people who are cursing at you, like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I can't believe, oh, that person should have those children taken away. They should be put in care straight away. And then you're like,
We were on our way to speech and drama yesterday, and the traffic was terrible, and we were late. And the light goes green, and the car in front of us doesn't move. And before I can even get the words out, from the back, all I hear is, "The light's green! Why don't you just move?"
so already they've taken,
Looking around my shoulder going, "That's my boy."
already the anger has started. So you're just passing on the anger.
I know.
And it's the worst thing, it's the worst character trait to pass on. Yeah. I've, so since our youngest went to creche, he's just been wild, not listening. Like, at one stage we were a little bit concerned about, is he okay? What has happened to the personality of this?
He's a 3-year-old boy, though.
Yeah, 3.5, yeah.
So by nature, he's a psycho.
Well, he had been grand. We were talking about during the week. We went on holidays in the summertime when we were down in Wexford, and we went out for lunch one day, and there was no screens, and we met Afric's mum and dad, and we sat there like drinking for 2.5, 3 hours, and they were really well behaved. There was colouring, there was chats. Now there's no way we could do that. I brought him to the cinema. I'll talk about that in a minute, but he nearly jumped off the escalator in the Odeon Point. You know, the 5 stories of escalators?
Yeah.
I had to carry him, and he's wrestling his way out of my hands, like over the... And I look up, and my middle child is refusing to step on the escalator. So I'm, like, wrestling with him, screaming at her, "Get on the fucking escalator!" Luckily, it was a Saturday or Sunday morning. There was nobody around, but, like, it could have been full of people, and I still would have done that. And it was like, oh, my God. And then I lost the ticket for the car. So we had to we went all the way down to the elevator and then all the way back up to retrace our steps. It was like the most humiliating 25 minutes of my life. So, horrific. But anyway, he's been really, really kind of just this madman for, I don't know, what are we now? So November, since he went to school in September, creche. And so eventually I'm like, okay, Christmas is coming. We have to use this somehow to our... There's an app you can upload some pictures of your kid to, and this very heavily produced Santa and the elves message. So Santa's recorded a message, "Oh, hello," and it's his picture, and you're like, "Oh, that's me." It's like, let me just check. Are you on the naughty or nice list? And it's like the naughty list, and and then
Wow.
the elf comes along and says,
Heavy stuff.
"Don't worry, Christmas. It's not Christmas yet. There's still time for you to save this." Doesn't care. Just doesn't care. He's
They
like,
live in the
"Hey,
moment."
I'm on the good list. I'm on the good list." You're like, "No, you're not." So if you've seen the video where Santa literally says your name, you're on the bad list.
It's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Very heavy duty.
No,
That's a bit...
I mean,
That's tough love, like, and there's...
I mean, I'm sorry, but like
we all, you know,
we're at our wits' end here.
there's always a few threats here and there, but, like,
But it's all
Santa
phases.
himself spilling the truth is a
Didn't work.
difficult thing to
Didn't
take.
work.
Because he lives in the moment. He forgot he was on the naughty list 2 minutes after you showed him the message.
He remembers that one time that he couldn't have the gingerbread man because he slammed the door, like a year and a half ago.
But they remember, like,
Remember that time you wouldn't give me my gingerbread man because I slammed the door? Yeah, I do, because you slammed the door. And he's like, yeah, but I wanted the gingerbread man. Like, you missed the lesson from this.
they remember isolated moments. Like, but generally they just live in the moment. So he's forgotten about the Santa message very quickly after you've delivered it to him. But what he sounds like he's just gone through a little phase. Like, we go through fortnightly phases where we're late at night, lying in bed going, like a family conference.
Yeah, what are we going to do here?
Parental conference. What are we going to do about this situation? Can't do it. I hate fighting with him. Can't go through this anymore. Why has he just gone off the rails over the last 2 weeks? And then it just stops. It just changes.
So, okay.
Completely out of the blue.
This is...
Is
And
it
he's
that
as
it
good as
changes
gold.
or another problem overtakes that problem?
I think so. Like,
This is quite a... It's been going on a bit now, to the point where we're like... In fairness, the last 3 days he's actually calmed down significantly, so he's been mostly okay.
and then maybe the phase is coming to an end.
Well, I hope so.
But it could return to a darker phase in 2 weeks' time. It's just, you just have to
Really?
roll with the punches.
Can be much darker.
Like, we were considering a sheet of paper on the fridge and a bag of stickers, and you put 10 stickers on the fridge. Every time he does something good, a sticker gets added. Every time he does something bad, a sticker gets removed. And if he gets to 0 stickers, so the ones that obviously you'll have to be able to peel them off, Christmas is cancelled. Now, we haven't actually gone to it yet because we were that close to actually implementing this, and suddenly his behaviour changed again. And like, I'd walk in, he'd call me, and I've got a surprise for you. And the playroom, which had looked like a bomb had hit it, is suddenly spotless. And you're just going, you actually are the greatest kid in the world. Scrap that plan to put the white sheet of paper on the fridge. This guy's a genius. It'll change.
I think some of it is too. A lot of it. I mean, now that I think about it, like, depends on whether or not they've eaten their dinner that night. But so I made a curry recently, which they've always eaten. Always, everybody has always eaten all their curry. Put it down, and he burst out crying straight away. Like,
So much of it is contingent on the circumstances, like have they eaten? When did they last eat? Maybe there's something lying in their tummy that's annoying them. Have they slept? Did they get enough sleep last night? Did they eat their lunch in school?
yeah.
Often with our fellas at me, do they need to go to the toilet? Like, do they need to make a deposit of some significant amount?
Yeah.
And if they're carrying
They
something
haven't done
around
shit.
with them,
Yeah, I mean,
They're
certainly the bowel movements are more important than you.
incredibly bad form. One of our fellas could be a different person from taking a dump to finishing it.
Yeah.
So he comes back out skipping around the place. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Mommy. Different child.
No washed hands. Didn't touch anything.
Well, now we do the sniff test on the washing the hands. Like, if I can't actually smell the soap, you're back in there. But these little mini phases, often it's put down to a growth spurt, which is basically a umbrella term for any bad behaviour your child.
You go to the doctor and it's a virus. It's a bit of a growth spurt till they're 22.
They don't recommend the negative side of those
Parenting
sticker charts
things.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So they don't, it should be all positive reinforcement. So there should be no, if you do something wrong, something's going to be taken away. You should start at 0 and say, when you do 10 good things, you'll get a reward.
Even if there's 15 bad things in the
rather
meantime.
than the threat of something bad is going to happen if you don't. Now, listen, I am no child psychologist, but I just know my house and my wife with her teacher ways is like, it's got to be all positive.
But
It's got to be
like,
chasing something.
Is positive reinforcement not what has got us into the situation we are in today, where everyone's a winner, no one's a loser, participation is all that counts. You're incredibly special, and you'll always be incredibly special.
I don't have any problem with any of that messaging.
But what's wrong with that?
Because then they get into like the real world, they realise they're actually not that
But
special.
their real world is different. So they have now created a real world for themselves where actually they have different priorities, they have different ways of looking at
and
life.
viewing winner loser in the old terms that we would have done them. Like maybe life isn't about winning and losing; it's about coexisting.
No, but they might believe that life is easy because
I don't think
you're
any
told all
child
the way through growing
believes
up that
life
you can
is
be whatever
easy.
you want to be, and you're incredibly special and you're absolutely beautiful, and like these are all messages I give to my kids.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all actually true when you think about it.
But
Aren't they? Really?
But like
Well,
this
in my
thing of,
mind they
like
are,
the
yeah.
opposite is the old school tough love, and that clearly didn't do any favors.
Okay, but what happens when the two of them love racing each other on their scooter outside the house? But because
You're
like,
just happy that they're outside the house racing each other.
no, hang
Someone
on.
wins.
What, exactly.
Yeah, but
Somebody
that's-
wins and the other guy throws a tantrum.
But
so
so-
am I supposed to say, well, I'll make sure you win the next one?
No, but that's
They have to learn that you don't always win.
that's that mad misrepresentation of a. So, but that doesn't mean that they're a loser in life because they lost this one race.
No, but they also have to be able to learn how to deal with the loss.
And it's not actually a loss when you think about it. It's just a.
Well, if there was a winner, there must have been a loser.
So I think that's a false duality. The comments, right? The five stars are continuing to roll. Great laugh and informative. Really enjoy listening to these lads. As a new parent, it gives some good insight and is very relatable, but is also very entertaining in its own right. Are you looking something up?
I am.
What are you looking up?
Why?
Is it work related? Is it show related?
show related.
Okay, well,
Apologies, I just was trying to guess.
to like open a can of whoop ass?
I think he was meant to.
no, because I want your attention for these, or you do yours first.
No, you do yours first. I'm not sure if I should be reading mine out.
The most recent one is brilliant podcast. No, because this is brilliant podcast.
He's giving us compliments, so we should all just listen and
The
think,
four lads
this
are
is our
gas.
good moment.
They bounce off each other really well. It's great to have something like this to listen and relate to. Genuinely, my favourite podcast. They're 2 5 stars, and I can't see any 4 stars more recently. There was one star way back in the day, incredibly negative. I'm not sure those people deserve to be parents.
Why do people give 4 stars? Like, you either like it or you don't.
Well, this is the only 4 star that I can find. Bailing Twine on 3 days ago, the 12th of the 11th, 2019. Really enjoyable show, totally relatable. Just a shame that your man Adrian, who is terrible whenever he's on air, just an unlikable personality. Also, I seem to remember when the ball commentator's kid was being born, Dave was in the studio on George Hook's Friday show giving his half-baked, knee-jerk right-wing opinions. 4 stars out of 5.
I'm the bald commentator.
In fairness, he's right about that. He is 100% right about that.
4 stars.
Nobody will-
What did we do to lose the 5th star?
Well, my right wing tendencies on the Friday right hook is obviously what cost us a star. Maybe he doesn't like
Adrian.
old people.
He doesn't like Adrian. That was it.
Nobody should ever forget Dave's contributions to the right hook, where he would be in, quite often they'd have like a minister in studio with them or something. Dave would be there, Ciara Kelly would be there, George Hook would be there. Yet Dave would be on our G-chat just chatting away about the weekend and at the same time talking to the government minister going, oh, what's the story with that? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like, how's he, like there's multitasking and
It is called multitasking, exactly.
It's a good training ground for parenting.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with everything that person said.
You're not bald, you just shaved your head.
It's just very tightly cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
What have you got for us?
Well, so at our PTA AGM, to get the crowds in, we put on a talk.
You were saying?
I'm not sure, should I be reading this out? Because obviously this guy works for a company and you should pay him for this. So I shouldn't be giving all his research for free, I guess. But fuck him. I'm just kidding. Let's just say everybody left that meeting going, oh my God, my kids are so screwed. So it was all about, we asked him to come in to talk about basically mobile phone usage and kids and its impact on kids and all of that. So he went through one of the stats. I'll just run through a couple of, I'm actually going to see will he actually come in and chat in the pod someday about this. Hospital admissions for non-fatal self-harm among boys. Different age groups, but 10 to 14, basically, hasn't changed in the last 15, 16 years. Hasn't changed. It's been pretty much the same line. Is this out of 10,000 or 100,000? It's out per 100,000. It's about 50 per 100,000 boys. Hospital admissions for non-fatal self-harm for girls was always a lot higher, was about 120, so it was over double what the boys was. Since 2009, and it had been steady for the previous 10 years, has gone from about 120 to over 300, a 189% increase in 10 to 14-year-olds. What happened in 2009?
The iPhone?
Exactly. Simple as that. Smartphones.
I think, I don't think it is just smartphones. I think it's like social media explodes, so...
Yeah. Well, sorry, social media and its access, obviously... and he was talking about how for boys it's fairly straightforward into what their issues are. It's gaming and porn. So it's addiction to one or the other, or both.
And you're like, I mean, chip off the old block, eh?
Isn't off the ground, he licked it.
Yeah. You know, I kind of thought about making all these kind of jokes on the night, but I wasn't sure if
Wasn't a safe environment, no.
the chairman should do these
This is obviously the first study in terms of a 10-year term of its kind, because unfortunately these children were the guinea pigs when it came to this.
So for boys, they use smartphones in a negative way for gaming and porn. For girls, the three different negative outcomes. Teen girls use social media in negative ways to damage the social relationship of another girl. So basically bullying each other, obviously. Social comparison of beauty or fear of missing out. In fact, this is a big thing now because of Snapchat locations, that they all just follow each other around on, so everybody knows where everybody is.
And has given us the acronym there. I mean, obviously...
FOMO.
FOMO. FOMO's written down. I just didn't want to sound like an idiot. We all know what FOMO is.
I mean, he's like...
You're not that young.
Okay, boomer.
Wow. Bloody hell.
But we know so much more now, don't we? Like, we are at least in a position to try and take steps to mitigate the dangers.
This is a bit like, it's a little bit like vaping, right? Now, I don't know if the current anti-vaping stuff is proper science or if it's all paid for by the cigarette companies. I'm not sure, right? But say it's not just all hype from the cigarette companies and vaping is actually really bad for you. Who knew that ingesting stuff straight into your lungs from a little plastic thing with made-up chemicals might potentially damage you? But apparently it looks like it might be pretty bad for you. So they're going to make it, they're going to ban vaping. Now that we realise that mobile phone usage is causing all sorts of weird shit to happen, like murderous shit in some instances, and all the way back to just common or garden bullying that's causing people to die by suicide, maybe there needs to be some thought given to an end to mobile phone access up to a certain point when everybody's allowed to do it. Maybe it becomes like a
law.
You have to grow into the right to own this by proving something, or by, like, when was it decided that everybody can just have these things? Maybe these are actually controlled things that we decide.
At what
Nanny
point?
state,
Yeah.
Nanny state.
Well, maybe it is, you know. But we're fine with it when it comes to this. Smoking will damage your health. You can't smoke until you're over whatever age. I don't know if it's 16 or 18. Can't drink until you're over 18.
Yeah, but then it's up to the parents to say you can't have this until you're of a certain age. And when you do have it,
but
there's
maybe
strict monitoring in place, and we'll know exactly what you're doing and to who you're speaking, and we'll take it from you as soon as the rules are
Yeah,
breached.
but it turns out lots of parents don't give a shit.
Well,
And that's the problem. So the point. So one of the points he made say about boys is that what age would you be comfortable with your son
Watching
looking at
porn?
26.
I mean, I don't know. It's like...
So his point was, so if you say 16, it's like, well, that's when you should get him a phone. Because the day he gets a phone is the
First
day
thing
he's
he's
going to
gonna look up.
No, but he's like, even if your son has no interest in porn,
Yeah, it's going to get shared with them.
it's going to be shared with him straight away. So, like, their recommendations were no kid should have a phone until first year. Obviously, they're doing more and more studies. Like, their brain literally can't cope with the light on the screen, with a million different parts of it, until they're about 12 or 13.
But you know the things that you're addicted to on your phone? Like, it's stuff that you can regularly update. It's stuff that's going to give you a little bit of information. Just a little drip feed of dopamine that you go, oh, okay, got that now. I've checked that now. I mean, we've had our phones in our hands even though we're doing a show. Obviously, I was
YouTube
looking
have.
something up, but yeah.
I purposely left mine out there.
Yeah, and you're like, I need to get my phone.
No, not at all. I'm perfectly happy to be away from it for half an hour, 45 minutes, although I do have all my messages linked up to my watch.
Is that not a killer?
No, it actually stops you looking at your phone. I'd say I've cut my unlocking my phone frequency by half,
Right.
because I can look at my watch. Oh, well, that's just a WhatsApp message from, say, the Dadcast crew. I'll look at that later. It's not urgent. It's not from my mother or my wife or the creche or
Right.
whatever it is. Whereas if you don't know whether
now
or
you
not
know.
you've got messages,
You're wondering.
every 5 minutes you just open your phone. I would do it if I was driving. Just cut out looking at my phone while I'm driving almost by 100%, which can only be a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, look. You're
So
driving.
It's a great, having your WhatsApp messages in particular on your watch is a great way to do it.
So,
Yeah.
give your kids a phone, give them porn is the. I mean, if look.
Like, basically, he was like, you could have literally raised your kids perfectly, the best possible way, but the
Yeah,
second they get a phone, within days, they're going to be in groups, and all young boys do is share porn.
Right.
Well, isn't it so important, though, that you sit down and you talk to your boys about what it is they've seen? So you can tell them this is not a true reflection of the world. No, honestly, though.
It is.
I know you're laughing, but I've been completely serious here.
I know. It is actually a really serious question.
Incredibly- like, the issue of consent for fathers of young boys is like the biggest, most important talk the three of us all have at least one son that will ever have to
Yeah.
have. With daughters, it's about making sure that, like, you look after yourself and that you're aware of the dangers and that you look after your friends and that you have really open lines of communication. With boys, you need to be so careful about the way you're treating women and about consent and exactly what is real and what isn't real and what sort of perception you might have of something when the reality is completely different. And if you know that your son has either been shared something that he's watched or he's actually actively gone out and looked for it himself, you have to sit down and go through and say, well, what do you think's going on here? Do you think that's actually how things work? As uncomfortable, horribly uncomfortable as it might be.
I don't know. Is it going to be that uncomfortable? It's like a.
Well,
if it thinks something's gone badly wrong before that, if it's that uncomfortable for you to sit down and to have a conversation, like.
well, I
this
don't know.
is-
Do you want to, the thought of sitting down with your 13-year-old boy and watching pornography.
Well, I'm not
Like,
going to
that's-
watch it with him.
Well, you want to be able to tell him that what you've seen here is not the way of the world.
Okay, well, maybe look. That's luckily we've a few years left.
That sounds like a 2-5 day watching porn.
Can you not just hold us?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Come on,
for
shut up.
once.
You got 5 years left before you got to do that, do you?
know, yeah.
Oh, I
dear
don't know.
God,
I
I've
just
5
plucked
years.
that number out of the sky. Like, I've no idea. Like,
Yeah.
No, I don't. My eldest is only 5, but like,
5 years.
Your eldest is 8.
Maybe next 2 months' time.
so like,
That
I
was
wouldn't be one of the.
It's probably 12, is it?
Yeah, I'd say 12, yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to want a phone by the time the first questions will start coming up at the age of what, 8?
Yeah, well, he was saying that
Such and
basically
such as a phone,
about
why haven't I
5
got
in
one?
4th class, like 5 of the class will have a phone, 5th class 15, and then by 6th class 95% will have a phone. Where really none of them
Should have any.
should have a phone, and like
So do you
We have-
envisage you being in that 5%?
I would hope not. No, definitely not.
That they
but
don't have
I
one.
will say that with my you see, again, it's easier in a way I think with your eldest it's the second one then who sees he's one step
Yeah.
ahead and he wants everything at the same time.
Yeah.
And the other problem is, like, already my kids are coming home, like, they're friends of older brothers and
Showing
sisters, and
stuff,
they're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, they've got the phone, so it's like they don't really have a phone. Anyways, bottom line was that the parents are to blame for all this, obviously.
Yeah.
That we are spending our life on our phone, so why the hell wouldn't
Oh,
our
look,
kids?
I've said it to my boys now.
Spend.
If we're sitting in a space, be it the kitchen table or the counter, and I pick my phone up,
Yeah.
immediately you are allowed to say, "Daddy, put your phone away."
This is the main thing that I would say we fight about in our house is my usage of the phone.
That is for sure.
Well,
It's exactly in my house.
We don't have rows.
I thought you were like, I know, you're using it too much. Right, well, maybe we should all stop WhatsApping each
Well, I'm
other.
telling them to tell me, put your phone away. And if your kid, who's 5 years old, is noticing that you're on your phone too much, you've definitely got a problem. But I love our listeners to let us know they're...
My 5-year-old said to me recently, well, I was like, oh, where is she? She's got this kind of weird costume thing, and, like, it doesn't go in the dress-up drawer, it goes under her bed. And she was like, well, you would know that if you ever spent any time with us.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah. You're like, it was work. It was work. It was work.
What
It
was
doesn't
your
work in a
answer to
5-year-old.
that?
I
Did you
mean,
cry?
I laughed. I had to laugh because it was like, I think she'd actually heard her older sister say it the week before. On that note, another Dadcast is in the books to go and cry in the corner and maybe have a pint in the afternoon. It's 12 o'clock. What can we do? Right, Dadcast at offtheball.com is the email address. Use the hashtag DadcastPod, or you can get us at Dadcast. What is the Twitter handle?
Dadcast.
At DadcastPod on Twitter. You get us all on Twitter. You know where you are at this stage. Thanks very much for listening.
Just don't
try and
spend
give
too
us-
much time on it.
Try and give us 5 stars instead of
At
4. Or
DadcastPod.
if you're deducting us a point, well, give us good reasons, as good as whatever Baylor Twine was. All right, see you next week. Good luck.